So what qualities did you see in each other back then that made you want to be friends?
I think I saw in him, he was a leader in the class, you know, and people admired him and thought he was funny and thought he was a good friend to a lot of people. I knew that he had a couple jobs and worked hard, and he just was such a happy-go-lucky, carefree type of guy. He just was just fun to be around and cute. I have to add cute again. So.
And that whole carefree, happy-go-lucky thing, she's fixed all that. No, to Anne, because obviously, you know, she was pretty, she's good-natured. She was a good person. I needed a moral compass, and she was it. Left to my own devices, I was a bit of a ne'er-do-well, but I knew she stood for something good, and I was attracted to her for that reason, and she was good-natured. She laughed at my jokes. She doesn't anymore. She says she's heard them all. But apparently she was just being polite by laughing at my jokes. But I don't know.
They were funny.
We hit it off. We got along well, and we always held each other in high regard. It was just felt natural to be with her. Being with her was always a good place to be.
How did you know that you guys wanted to spend the rest of your lives together as a couple?
Probably like a lot of people, you become friends, and you get to know each other better, get to know more about each other, and you like what you learn about, probably not 100%, but you like what you learn about the other person, and that whole falling in love thing where you're thinking about them all the time, and when you're not with them you wish you were, and can't wait till the next time you see him again. Sounds kind of cheesy, but it's true. That's the way it goes. And you also know in your heart that you care about them, her, all right, specifically. You know you care about that other person more than anything else in the world. And then you start not being able to imagine life without them and all that sort of thing. So it was never a question of if Anne was the one. It was more a question of, was I ready to do that? Because the rest of your life is a long time, hopefully. But yeah, so far so good.
Yeah, and we had our ups and downs and, you know, go-rounds in our relationship.
And they're all my fault. And
it always came back to each other and realized that we needed each other in our life. So it was good. Now I look back on 24 and think, wow, that was young. But it worked for us. So. We got married when we were 24, like we said, and decided that we wanted to have some time in our married life for each other at the beginning. So we waited almost 5 years before we had children.
But nothing was better than having a child, you know? Once we had a baby, should have done this a long time ago. And,
I think that with Gil's background, his parents divorced when he was in high school, that he showed just a strong commitment to family, that I knew that he would always be there for me and for, you know, our family. If God blessed us with kids, that he would always be there for us, because he didn't have that growing up, and it was very, very important to him to be able to have that in his life for his kids. So I saw that in him as time went on, and I just knew that he'd be a great husband and a great father to our kids. So. Up at the altar, and we were saying our vows, and oh my gosh, I have never been filled, and this sounds so corny, and I to this day I still get that emotion, but I've never been filled with the Holy Spirit like I was that day. And I knew that God had centered us and had blessed our marriage on that day, because it was such a fantastic feeling, and just felt so connected to Gil and to the church, and it was a wonderful day. And ever since then, we have stayed close to our family. But it really has kept us together in the hard times, and been able to rely on our faith and each other, and knowing that they held that true, that Gil had that deep faith also, and that it was something that we shared.
Concur that our actual marriage, during the actual, while we exchanged vows, matrimony is a sacrament, and it was I was not prepared for that experience. I literally couldn't feel my feet touching the floor as I made my vows to Ann. And if you think of marriage as not just a dress and a cake and a party, it was a party to be sure, but
We had a good time.
but it's a covenant, and it's a promise in front of friends, family, and God, and you promise to live a certain way and to live solely for this other person. And if you take that covenant seriously, it strengthens you in your marriage every step of the way. And we keep a relationship with God because you don't want to, let's say you have a sick kid, or a kid gets hit by a car, or you lose a job or something like that, and then you go to pray and ask for whatever it is. That's what most people do in times of crisis. And you don't want to have to start your prayer with, I know you haven't heard from me in a while. So you try to actively keep a good relationship with the Lord, and show your kids that that's the right way to live.